So let's start our today's topic. Yesterday we were discussing about the prokaryotic cell. I told you that prokaryotic cell is externally covered by a cell envelope, and that cell envelope is formed of different layers. The outermost layer of cell envelope is glycocalyx. Inside that glycocalyx, there is a cell wall. We discussed the structure of glycocalyx and the cell wall. You know, cell wall of prokaryotes that is formed of peptidoglycans. We discussed yesterday how peptidoglycans are formed. Now today we are going to discuss about the third layer of the cell wall of this cell envelope of prokaryotes. The third layer of cell envelope of prokaryotes is the plasma membrane, or we call it as cell membrane. As we were discussing yesterday, this cell membrane of prokaryotes and this cell membrane of eukaryotes, it is almost similar. It is almost similar. There are some minor differences. As I told you yesterday, in prokaryotes, the cell membrane is having enfoldings. Those enfoldings, they are in the form of mesosome, they are in the form of photosynthetic membranes, or they may be in the form of nitrogen fixation membranes. But in eukaryotes, this cell membrane is not having any enfoldings. There are no invaginations. In eukaryotes, there are some evaginations. Evaginations means there are some outgrowths. You know, now those outgrowths, they are in the form of microvilli. Those small finger-like projections which are present on the surface of eukaryotic cells, they are known as microvilli. So that is the physical difference between the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Chemically, the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes is slightly different. It is not having too many differences, right? So first we will see the chemical composition of cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, this cell membrane, it is formed of proteins. It contains proteins in it. It contains some 55% proteins in it. It contains lipids. There is approximately 42% lipids in the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. And there are also carbohydrates. There are approximately 3%. There are approximately 3% carbohydrates in the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. So the chemical composition of cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes, it is almost alike. In both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, the cell membrane contains proteins. There are some 55% proteins. There are lipids, some 42% lipids, and there are carbohydrates, some 3%, right? These lipids, they are of different types in the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. In lipids, there are phospholipids. They form 25% of the total lipid content. Then there is cholesterol, or there may be hopanoid. It is some 13%. And there are some other lipids. Other lipids form some 4%, right? So among the lipids, the most abundant lipids are phospholipids, 25%. Then in eukaryotes, there is cholesterol. And in prokaryotes, instead of cholesterol, there is another citral known as hopanoid, right? So I was telling you chemically the structure of prokaryotic plasma membrane and eukaryotic membrane, it is almost alike, right? Both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, they contain proteins, lipids, and carbohydrates in their cell membrane. Among lipids, there are 25% phospholipids, both in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Then in eukaryotes, there is a stabilizing molecule. That stabilizing molecule is cholesterol. In eukaryotic cell membrane, we find stabilizing molecule in the form of cholesterol. But in prokaryotes, this stabilizing molecule, it is not cholesterol, it is another citral known as hopanoid. So this is the chemical difference between the prokaryotic cell membrane and eukaryotic cell membrane. Otherwise, they are chemically similar. So instead of cholesterol, prokaryotes, they possess another citral known as hopanoid, 13%. And there are some other lipids, right? So this is the chemical composition of the cell membrane of prokaryotes and eukaryotes, right? Now, there were various models proposed for this structure of cell membrane. You might be knowing the first model which tried to explain the structure of cell membrane was given by the first model which tried to explain the structure of cell membrane was given by that model is known as Daniel and Dawson model. Daniel and Dawson model in 1935. They proposed a model for cell membrane. That model is known as sandwich model. That is known as sandwich model. Daniel and Dawson in 1935. They tried to explain the structure of cell membrane. They proposed a model. That model is known as sandwich model, right? According to this sandwich model, a plasma membrane is formed of two layers of proteins. Plasma membrane is formed of two layers of proteins, an outer protein layer and inner protein layer. And in between these protein layers, lipids are in the form of bilayer. Lipids are in the form of a lipid bilayer. So these lipids, they are sandwiched in between the protein layers. That is why it is known as sandwich model. So these are the lipids. They are in the form of a lipid bilayer. And on the two sides of this lipid bilayer, there are two layers of proteins. So these are proteins. This is protein layer. This is protein layer. This is another protein layer. In between these two protein layers, there is a lipid bilayer. There is a lipid bilayer sandwiched in between them, right? So in between two protein layers, a lipid bilayer is sandwiched in between them, right? So that is why it is known as sandwich model. Have you taken our sandwich? In sandwich, there are two bread leaves, right? And in between them, there is some other material. Similarly, here are two protein layers. One protein layer, another protein layer. In between these two protein layers, there is a lipid bilayer. So lipid bilayer, it is sandwiched in between these two protein layers. That is why it is known as sandwich model. This sandwich model, it was proposed by Daniel and Dawson in 1935. Then another model was proposed. That is known as unit membrane concept. Unit membrane model. Unit membrane model was proposed by Robertson. Robertson in 1959. So according to Robertson, a plasma membrane is formed of a single unit or two units. A plasma membrane may be formed of a single unit or a double unit. Or a double unit. So here a unit is referred to as two protein layers and a lipid bilayer. Here a unit is referred to two protein layers and a lipid bilayer, right? So Robertson said that sometimes the plasma membrane may exist as a single unit membrane. For example, the plasma membrane itself. Plasma membrane around the cell. Plasma membrane around the cell. That is a single unit membrane. Or for example, the membrane covering of lysosome. That is a single unit membrane. Sometimes it may be in the form of double unit. For example, around nucleus, around mitochondria, around plastids. You know, nucleus is covered by a double nuclear membrane. So that double nuclear membrane was considered as a unit by Robertson, right? So he called it as a double unit. Plasma lemma itself, which covers the cell externally, that was considered as a single unit. The membrane covering of the lysosome, that was considered as a single unit. So this plasma membrane of the cell, it was considered as a single unit. It was considered as a single unit. Similarly, lysosomal membrane, that was also considered as a single unit. However, the nuclear membrane, which is a double membrane, it was considered as a double unit, right? So Robertson believed that this plasma membrane, it exists in two forms. It may exist in the form of a single unit, or it may exist in the form of a double unit. However, a unit consisted of two protein layers sandwiching a lipid bilayer, right? Both these models had shortcomings. These models could not explain how a cell can absorb water, how water can cross through this lipid bilayer and the protein layers, right? If water is to be absorbed by a cell, this water, it cannot cross this lipid bilayer because these lipids, they are hydrophobic. Proteins are hydrophilic. What this lipids, they are hydrophobic. So how water molecules can pass through the cell membrane? These models could not explain it, right? So these models, they were rejected. Then another model was put forth. That model was put forth by Singer and Nicholson. Singer and Nicholson. In 1972, they proposed a model of plasma membrane, which is known as fluid mosaic model. Fluid mosaic model. This fluid mosaic model, it has been universally accepted. It is the most scientific model, right? It has been universally accepted, right? So according to this fluid mosaic model, plasma membrane is in quasi-fluid nature. Plasma membrane is in quasi-fluid nature. Quasi-fluid nature. That means a plasma membrane in some part is in the form of fluid and in some part it is in the form of solid, right? So Singer and Nicholson said that this plasma membrane, it is like protein icebergs, protein icebergs floating in the ocean of lipids, in the ocean of lipids. So as you may have seen, icebergs floating in the oceans, right? So those icebergs, they are solid and the water is in liquid state. In that liquid water, the icebergs can easily float. So Singer and Nicholson, they said that proteins which are solid in nature, they remain floating in the lipid bilayer like the icebergs in the ocean, right? So in part, the plasma membrane is in fluid condition and in part it is in solid condition. That is why we call it as quasi-fluid nature. Quasi means semi. So plasma membrane is in semi-fluid nature. Lipids are in liquid state and proteins are in solid state. And these proteins, they float in the ocean of lipids. These proteins, they float in the lipids, right? So let us see this model through a diagram, right? So for the explanation of this model, I will draw a diagram. So this is a protein, it is in solid condition, it is in solid state. This protein is embedded in a lipid bilayer. It is embedded in a lipid bilayer. This is a lipid bilayer. This is a lipid bilayer. This is a lipid bilayer. These are the proteins. Maybe another protein. So this is a lipid bilayer. You can see here, this lipid bilayer, it is formed of lipids, right? This is a lipid molecule. Each lipid molecule has got polar head group, and it has got non-polar tails. Non-polar, it has got non-polar tails, right? This is polar head group, This is a non-polar tail, non-polar tail. So these lipid molecules, they are mostly phospholipids. They are arranged in the form of a lipid bilayer, so that they expose their hydrophilic, head group, and they conceal their hydrophobic tails. Why lipids are arranged in the form of a lipid bilayer? Lipids are arranged in the form of a lipid bilayer so that they only expose their hydrophilic polar head groups and they conceal their hydrophobic tails. So that makes the lipid in the form of a lipid bilayer. Then in this lipid bilayer, there are proteins embedded. Those proteins which are embedded in the lipid bilayer, partially or completely, these proteins are known as integral proteins. Some of the proteins, they float on the surface of lipid bilayer. Those proteins which are present on the surface of lipid bilayer, they are known as peripheral proteins. So this is an integral protein, this is an integral protein, this is an integral protein, right? Then some of the integral proteins, they pass right across the lipid bilayer. For example, this protein, it passes right across the lipid bilayer, right? This protein which passes right across the lipid bilayer, this protein is known as transmembrane protein. It is known as transmembrane protein. This protein is known as transmembrane protein. This is a transmembrane protein. This is a transmembrane protein, right? So some proteins, they may be partially embedded in the lipid bilayer. They are known as integral proteins. For example, there is one here. I will show another here. This is an integral protein. These transmembrane proteins which pass right across the lipid bilayer, they are also integral proteins. But these integral proteins, they pass right across the lipid bilayer. That is why we call them as transmembrane proteins, because they are projecting on the two surfaces of this lipid bilayer of this plasma membrane, right? Okay. Then some oligosaccharide chains are attached to these proteins or lipids. Some oligosaccharide chains are attached to proteins or lipids. These are oligosaccharide chains. Oligosaccharide chains. They are attached to proteins or lipids. When oligosaccharides get joined to protein or lipid, that makes a glycoprotein or a glycolipid. So this is a glycoprotein here. Right? This is a glycoprotein. Here the oligosaccharide chain is attached to a lipid. So it makes a glycolipid. So this is a glycolipid. This is a glycoprotein. So in this way, these oligosaccharide chains, which get attached to lipids or proteins of the plasma membrane on the external surface, they form the cell surface antigens. They form the cell surface antigens by which the cells recognize each other as self or non-self, right? So this is how a plasma membrane is formed. So Singer and Nicholson, they said that this plasma membrane, in part, it is in liquid form. The lipids, they are in liquid form. Lipids are in the form of a lipid bilayer, which is in liquid form. Then protein icebergs, they float in this ocean of lipids. Some of the proteins are embedded in the lipids bilayer. Some of the proteins, they float on the surface of lipid bilayer. So on the basis of the nature of protein, we classify these proteins into two types: integral proteins, integral proteins, and peripheral proteins. So what are peripheral proteins? Peripheral proteins are those proteins which are present on the surface of lipid bilayer, right? Whether it is present internally or externally. So they are known as peripheral proteins. These proteins are known as peripheral proteins, which are present on the surface of lipid bilayer. Then some proteins, they are embedded in the lipid bilayer. Those proteins which are embedded in the lipid bilayer, they are known as integral proteins. Then some of the integral proteins, they pass right across the lipid bilayer. Those integral proteins which pass right across the lipid bilayer, they are known as transmembrane proteins. And it is these transmembrane proteins which bear small tunnels in them. These transmembrane proteins, they have small tunnels in them, small channels in them, right? Through which water molecules can pass easily. Through these channels, water molecules can cross plasma membrane easily. So for that purpose, they are also known as aquaporins. These small channels are also known as aquaporins because water can cross through this plasma membrane easily. Otherwise, water could not pass through the plasma membrane. If these tunnel proteins or transmembrane proteins would have not been present, then water could not pass through this lipid bilayer because this lipid bilayer, it has got hydrophilic head group, but it has got hydrophobic tails which are concealed inwards. So if the water molecule had to pass through the lipid bilayer, right, it could not have done it. It could not pass through the lipid bilayer because polar head groups may allow the water molecule to pass, but this non-polar tails, they will repel it. They will repel it back, right? So water can pass only through this plasma membrane, through these tunnel proteins or through these aquaporins, right? So that is why this model of plasma membrane was accepted by the scientists, because sandwich model could not explain how water can cross across plasma membrane. Unit membrane model, that could also not explain how water can pass through plasma membrane. But this Singer and Nicholson model, it clearly indicates, it clearly explains how water can pass through this plasma membrane. Now, how is this Singer and Nicholson model different from this sandwich model or unit membrane model of those scientists? So they considered that, they thought that plasma membrane is having two protein layers, and in between those two protein layers, there is a lipid bilayer. But Singer and Nicholson said that there are not two protein layers. There is a lipid bilayer. In that lipid bilayer, the proteins may float on the surface, or the proteins may be embedded within this lipid bilayer, right? So this is the fluid mosaic model of Singer and Nicholson for the plasma membrane. Now, where is the cholesterol? In eukaryotic cells, this plasma membrane is stabilized by acetylol known as cholesterol. So cholesterol may be found here somewhere. It is in the lipid bilayer. This is cholesterol. This is cholesterol. Right? Now, how does the plasma membrane of eukaryotic cell differ from the plasma membrane of prokaryotic cell. In eukaryotes, the stabilizing molecule is cholesterol. However, in prokaryotes, this stabilizing molecule is not cholesterol. In prokaryotes, it is another citronol known as a hopanoid. Right? Do you understand how it is different from how the plasma membrane of prokaryotes differs from the plasma membrane of eukaryotes? In eukaryotes, there is the stabilizing molecule cholesterol, right? This is cholesterol, which is the stabilizing molecule in eukaryotic plasma membrane. In prokaryotic plasma membrane, this cholesterol is replaced by another citronol. That citronol is hopanoid, right? So that is the structure of plasma membrane as proposed by Singer and Nicholson model. I hope you understand it. Do you understand it now? Right? So that is all about the structure of plasma membrane. Okay. Now, how can we believe that this plasma membrane is in fact in cost fluid nature? How can you believe it? So this was proved experimentally. The cost fluid nature of plasma membrane was proved by an experiment. Scientists, they took two cells. They took two animal cells. They labeled one cell with a red dye. They applied a red dye to one cell and they labeled another cell with green dye. Right? So scientists, they took two animal cells. One cell was labeled with a red dye. Another cell was labeled with a green dye. Then these two cells, they were fused together. After fusion, these cells, they were kept in an oven at room temperature. For a few hours. Right? After that, they observed these two cells. When they took out these cells from the oven after a few hours, they saw that these dyes, they had thoroughly mixed together. The dyes had thoroughly mixed together, right? So when they dyed two animal cells, then they fused those two animal cells. They kept them in oven for some time, for some hours, right? After a few hours, they took out the cells from the oven, and what they observed, these cells, they had fused together, and their dyes, they had thoroughly mixed together. Had thoroughly mixed together. Then they again took two animal cells. They again labeled them red and green, right? Then these two cells were fused together, and after fusing together, they were kept in a freezer. At 0 degrees Celsius for few hours. They were kept in a freezer for 0 degrees Celsius for few hours. Then after a few hours, the cells were taken out. Fused cells were taken out. And scientists observed that the dyes, they had not mixed together. Why the dyes had not mixed together? Why the colors had not mixed together? Can you tell me? This experiment gives evidence in favor of quasi-fluid nature of plasma membrane. So when the cells were first dyed, when the colors were applied, then those colored cells, they were fused together and they were kept at room temperature for a few hours. After a few hours, it was observed that these colors, they are thoroughly mixed together. Then again, the cells were dyed, the cells were fused, then cells were kept at 0 degrees Celsius for some time. And after few hours, the cells were observed and it was found that colors had not mixed together. Why? Because at 0 degrees Celsius, the lipids are frozen. Lipids freeze at 0 degrees Celsius. So when lipids freeze, proteins could not move through those lipids. It was protein which absorbed the dye. The proteins were dyed red and green. So in this case, the lipid layer was in liquid state. So proteins moved from one place to another. They floated in this lipid bilayer. So the colors got mixed. But in this case, because the lipids were frozen at 0 degrees Celsius. At 0 degrees Celsius, the lipids freeze. So they became solid and proteins could not make the movement. So colors did not mix. So this experiment, beyond any doubt, proved that quasi-fluid nature of plasma membrane is exactly correct, right? So that is the plasma membrane, which is similar in prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Thanks for being with me. Our time is running now. Okay, thank you.